3 college students left for a weekend road trip through the Nevada desert. Only one came back, and what she told police made absolutely no sense until they found the camera. Before we continue, subscribe and turn on notifications, because stories like this are more common than you think. In March 2019, 3 friends from San Diego State University decided to escape the stress of finals week with a spontaneous road trip. Maya Chen, 21, her boyfriend Derek Holloway, 22, and their best friend Cassie Brennan, 20, packed Maya's silver Honda CR-V with camping gear, snacks, and enough excitement to last them through spring break. Their destination was simple, nowhere specific. Just drive through the vast Nevada desert, camp under the stars, and return Sunday night. They posted pictures at a gas station in Baker, California at 2:47 p.m. on Friday, March 15th. Derek's Instagram story showed them laughing, dancing to music, completely unaware that they were driving towards something that would shatter everything they knew about reality. By Monday morning, only Cassie would return, barefoot, covered in dirt and blood, speaking in fractured sentences about doors that shouldn't exist and a road that kept changing. Maya, Derek, and Cassie had been inseparable since freshman year. They weren't just friends, they were the kind of people who finished each other's sentences, who showed up at 3 a.m. when someone needed them, who built their entire college experience around each other. Maya was pre-med, brilliant and driven, with a smile that could disarm anyone. Derek was studying environmental science, the kind of guy who'd pull over to help a stranded motorist without a second thought. Cassie was an art major, quiet and observant, always carrying her vintage Canon camera to document moments others missed. They talked about this trip for months. No phones, no social media, just 3 friends, the open road, and freedom. Their families weren't worried when they didn't return Sunday night. College kids lost track of time. But when Maya's mother couldn't reach her by Monday afternoon, she called campus security. By Monday evening, she'd filed a missing persons report. Tuesday morning at 6:23 a.m., a highway patrol officer found Cassie stumbling along Route 375, the so-called extraterrestrial highway, nearly 200 miles from where they'd last been seen. She was hypothermic, dehydrated, and barefoot. Her feet were shredded, bleeding through multiple layers of dirt and desert sand. But it was her eyes that disturbed the officer most. They were wide, unblinking, moving rapidly like she was still seeing something that wasn't there. "The door," she kept whispering. "We opened the door." Detective Rachel Moreno was assigned the case within hours. A 15-year veteran of the Nevada State Police, she'd seen missing persons cases turn tragic too many times. But something about Cassie's condition immediately struck her as wrong. She wasn't injured in a way that made sense. Moreno would later tell reporters. No defensive wounds, no signs of assault, but she had blisters on her hands consistent with digging. And her clothes, they smelled like concrete and something else. Something chemical we couldn't identify. Cassie was hospitalized immediately. For the first 48 hours, she barely spoke. When she did, her statements contradicted themselves. She said they'd been driving for hours. Then she'd say they never left the gas station. She described a building that appeared in the middle of the desert. Then she'd insist there was no building, only a door standing by itself. The search for Maya and Derek intensified. Helicopters scoured the desert. Volunteers combed through abandoned mining towns and dried lake beds. Dogs picked up no-scent trails. The Honda CR-V seemed to have vanished completely. On the 4th day, Cassie finally gave a coherent statement. What she described would become one of the most disturbing missing persons cases in Nevada history. According to Cassie, everything was normal until Saturday evening. They'd driven off-road, following dirt paths into remote desert areas, laughing about getting lost, taking pictures of the surreal landscape. Around sunset, they spotted something strange. A perfectly straight dirt road, cutting through the desert like a scar. It wasn't on any of their maps. It didn't appear on GPS. But it was there, undeniable, stretching toward the horizon. Derek wanted to see where it went, Cassie told Detective Moreno, her voice flat, emotionless. Maya said it was probably just a mining road. I took pictures. I took so many pictures. They drove for what felt like an hour. The road never curved, never bent. On both sides, the landscape remained identical. Sparse brush, distant mountains that never got closer, and a sky that seemed to be darkening faster than it should. That's when they saw it. A door. Not a building with a door. Not a structure. Just a door, standing upright in the middle of the desert, about 50 yards off the road. A plain wooden door with a brass handle, freestanding, leading to nowhere. "We should have kept driving," Cassie whispered during her interview, tears finally breaking through her blank expression. "We should have just kept going." But they didn't. Derek pulled over. Maya was already laughing, saying it was probably some art installation. Cassie grabbed her camera. They walked toward it, the desert sand crunching under their feet, the temperature dropping rapidly as the sun touched the horizon. The door was old but not weathered. 6 feet tall, standard size, painted a faded blue-gray. When Derek walked behind it, they could see him clearly through the empty frame. Nothing unusual. Just a door standing in the desert for no apparent reason. Derek reached for the handle, Cassie continued. "Maya was joking about Narnia. I was taking pictures. And then he opened it." What Cassie described next made Detective Moreno request a psychiatric evaluation. But the psychiatrist found Cassie completely lucid, suffering from severe trauma but not delusional. When Derek opened the door, instead of seeing through to the other side, there was something else. A hallway. Long, narrow, lit by fluorescent lights that flickered irregularly. The walls were concrete, institutional gray, with no decorations, no doors, no windows. Just a hallway that shouldn't exist, extending from a door standing alone in the Nevada desert. Maya said it was a trick, Cassie recalled, like a mirror or projection. Derek stepped closer to look. And then, she stopped talking for nearly 10 minutes. The hallway made a sound, like breathing, or machinery, something rhythmic. And we smelled it, that chemical smell, like cleaning products and something rotten underneath. Derek looked back at us. He was excited. He thought it was the coolest thing ever. He stepped inside. Maya screamed for him to stop, but Derek was already 3 steps into the hallway. He turned around, grinning, and waved at them. Called for them to come see. Said the hallway felt cold, air-conditioned, and he could hear something at the end of it. Cassie stayed by the car. She begged them to leave, but Maya loved Derek too much to let him explore alone. She stepped through the door. "I watched them walk down that hallway," Cassie said, her voice breaking. "I watched them get smaller and smaller. The hallway was maybe 20 feet long when Derek first entered. But they kept walking, and walking, and they never reached the end." Cassie waited. 5 minutes. 10. She called their names. Her voice echoed strangely, like the hallway was swallowing the sound. She pulled out her phone to call for help, but there was no signal. There never had been since they'd turned onto that straight road. Then Maya started screaming. Not words, just screaming. Raw, terrified, primal screaming that echoed from somewhere deep in that impossible hallway. Cassie ran toward the door, but before she could reach it, Maya came running back. Running faster than Cassie had ever seen her move, her face twisted in absolute horror. "Close it!" Maya shrieked. "Close it, close it, close it!" Derek wasn't with her. Maya reached the door, grabbed the handle from inside, and slammed it shut. The moment it closed, the hallway vanished. Behind the door was just desert again, visible through the frame. Maya collapsed, hyperventilating, sobbing, unable to form sentences. Cassie tried to help her up, tried to ask what happened, where Derek was, but Maya kept shaking her head, pointing at the door, gasping. He went further. He found something. He opened another door. That's when they heard the knocking. 3 slow, deliberate knocks from the other side of the door. The desert side. The side where nothing should be. Maya went silent. Both girls stared at the door. Another 3 knocks, slower this time, heavier. Then Derek's voice, muffled but recognizable. "Let me in, please. It's cold." Cassie described Maya's face in that moment. The conflict, the love and the terror fighting each other. She reached for the handle. "Don't," Cassie had begged. "That's not him. That's not Derek." "It's his voice," Maya whispered. "It's his voice." She opened the door. The hallway was back, but different. The lights were dimmer. The walls seemed wet, glistening. And at the end of the hallway, maybe 30 feet away now, stood Derek. But something was wrong with him. He was standing too still. His head was tilted at an angle that didn't look comfortable. And when he spoke, his mouth didn't quite match the words. "Please let me in," Derek said. "I'm scared. I want to come home." Maya stepped forward. Cassie grabbed her arm, but Maya yanked free. She walked into the hallway. 3 steps. 4. Derek didn't move. Didn't blink. "Derek." Maya's voice was small, childlike. "Baby, what happened?" Derek's head tilted further. "Come here. Come help me. I can't move my legs." Maya took another step. And that's when Cassie saw them. Doors. Dozens of doors, lining the hallway walls where there had been none before. Different colors, different styles. A red metal door. A white door with a small window. An ornate wooden door with carved symbols. A door that looked like it belonged to a child's bedroom, painted yellow with stickers. They were all slightly open, and from behind each one, Cassie could hear breathing. "Maya, run!" Cassie screamed. Everything happened at once. The doors flew open. Maya turned to run. Derek moved, impossibly fast, jerking forward like a marionette. He grabbed Maya's wrist. His grip made a sound like breaking wood. Maya screamed and pulled, and they both fell to the concrete floor. Cassie didn't think. She ran into the hallway, grabbed Maya's other hand, and pulled with everything she had. Maya's wrist made a horrible popping sound as Derek held tight, but Cassie didn't stop. She pulled and pulled until Maya came free, and they both fell backward through the doorframe, hitting the desert sand hard. Cassie jumped up and slammed the door shut, locked it with the brass mechanism. The knocking started immediately, pounding, violent. The entire door shook in its frame. Maya was sobbing, cradling her wrist, which was already bruising in a perfect handprint pattern. But the fingers were too long, the thumb on the wrong side. "We have to get him," Maya wailed. "We have to save him." "That wasn't Derek," Cassie said, pulling Maya toward the car. "That wasn't Derek." The pounding stopped. For a moment, there was complete silence. Then they heard it. Not from the door. From everywhere. All around them in the desert. Knocking. Dozens of sources. Hundreds. The sound of knuckles on wood. Coming from the ground. From the air. From inside their own car. They ran. Cassie started the car, threw it in reverse, and floored it backward down that straight road. Maya was screaming at her to stop, to go back for Derek, but Cassie didn't stop. The knocking followed them, staying at the same volume no matter how fast they drove, like it was always just behind them. That's when Maya opened her door. "She just opened it," Cassie told Detective Moreno, crying now, the memory breaking her. "While we were going 50 miles an hour backward. She opened the door and said, 'He's calling me.' And before I could stop her, she jumped." Cassie slammed on the brakes, screaming Maya's name. She saw Maya hit the ground, roll, and lie still for a moment. Then Maya stood up, turned around, and started walking back toward that door, which Cassie could still see in the distance. Impossibly far away, but somehow still visible. Cassie put the car in drive, tried to chase her, but the straight road was gone. She was on regular desert terrain now, rocks and brush everywhere. The car lurched and stalled. By the time Cassie got out, Maya had disappeared. The knocking stopped. Cassie spent the next hour searching, screaming their names, but the landscape had changed. The straight road was gone. The door was gone. She tried to retrace their path, but every direction looked the same. Her phone was dead. The car wouldn't start. She walked. For how long? She didn't know. The sun rose and she kept walking. Her feet bled through her shoes, so she took them off. She walked until a highway patrol officer found her on Route 375, miles from anywhere, unable to explain how she'd gotten there. 3 weeks after Cassie was found, a hiker discovered Maya's camera. It was sitting on a rock formation 15 miles from Route 375, perfectly placed, lens cap on, seemingly undamaged. The hiker turned it in to police. Detective Moreno personally reviewed the photographs. The first images were exactly what Cassie had described. The gas station, the desert, Derek and Maya laughing, the straight road, the door. But there were more photos. Photos Cassie said she never took. Images from inside the hallway. Close-ups of the concrete walls, which had writing on them. Not graffiti, carved letters, thousands of them, names and dates going back over a century. Help US. Don't open the doors. IT pretends. The hallway grows. There were photos of the doors. Each one documented. Behind the small windows of some, you could see things. Rooms that shouldn't exist. A kitchen from the 1950s. A hospital corridor. A child's bedroom with a crib. A forest at night. And then the final photographs. A selfie of Maya. Her face smiling, but her eyes completely black. Behind her, the hallway extended infinitely, and dozens of figures stood in the distance, all with their heads tilted the same wrong angle. The last photo was of Derek, or something that looked like Derek. He was standing in front of one of the doors, a blue door, painted the same color as the original door in the desert. His mouth was open too wide. His hands were backwards, palms facing forward. And behind him, partially visible, was another Derek. And another. And another. Copies, each slightly more wrong than the last, extending back into impossible darkness. The camera's metadata showed the photos were taken over a span of 6 hours. But according to the timestamps, they were all taken on March 16, 2019, the day after the friends had left for their trip. The same day Cassie said they'd found the door. Except the photos were geotagged to a location that didn't exist. The coordinates placed them 200 feet underground, directly beneath a closed military installation that had been decommissioned in 1987. Maya Chen and Derek Holloway were never found. The Honda CR-V was discovered 4 months later, partially buried in sand 60 miles from where Cassie had last seen it, the engine still warm. Inside, investigators found both Maya's and Derek's phones, with battery life remaining, showing dozens of missed calls from each other time-stamped during the week they were missing. But none of the calls had actually connected. Detective Moreno tried to locate the straight road, the door, anything from Cassie's account. She drove every route they might have taken. She interviewed locals, researchers, even conspiracy theorists who claimed the area had unusual properties. No one had seen a freestanding door in the desert. No one had heard of a straight road that wasn't on maps. But others had gone missing in the area. Moreno discovered 17 unsolved missing persons cases within a 100-mile radius over the past 30 years. Most were solo hikers or small groups. All had disappeared without a trace. And in 3 of those cases, survivors had been found miles away, suffering from severe trauma, unable to explain what happened. 1. A man named Richard Torres, who vanished in 2003 and was found 2 weeks later, had told police about a building that appeared in the desert, a building with endless rooms and doors that led to other doors. He'd been committed to psychiatric care and died by suicide 6 months later. His final note said, "The knocking never stops. I hear it in my sleep. They're still calling me back." Cassie Brennan never returned to college. She moved back to her parents' home in Oregon and refused all interviews except for one, given to a true crime podcast in 2022. "People think I'm crazy," she said during the interview. "They think I hallucinated or had a psychotic break. The official explanation is that we got lost, I survived, and Maya and Derek died of exposure somewhere in the desert. That their bodies just haven't been found yet." The interviewer asked if she believed that. "I know what I saw," Cassie responded. "I know what happened, and I know that door is still out there, waiting." She revealed something she'd never told police. The night before she was found by the highway patrol officer, while she was wandering lost in the desert, she'd heard Maya's voice calling her name. She'd turned around and seen it, the door, maybe a quarter-mile away, standing in the moonlight. She'd started walking toward it. She got within 100 yards before she realized what she was doing and forced herself to run in the opposite direction. That's the thing nobody understands, Cassie said, her voice hollow. Part of me still wants to go back. Part of me still wants to open that door. I hear Maya sometimes, in my dreams, telling me to come find her, telling me Derek is waiting. And the worst part is, she paused for a long time. The worst part is I know exactly where it is. I can feel it, like a compass pointing toward something terrible. And every year it gets stronger. The pull, the calling. Sometimes I wake up and I've packed a bag without remembering it. Sometimes I find myself looking at maps of Nevada, planning routes. The interviewer asked if she would ever go back. I don't think I have a choice, Cassie answered. I think eventually, everyone who sees that door has to go back. Is patient, can wait forever. And one day, I won't be strong enough to resist. The interview ended there. 6 months after that interview, Cassie Brennan's car was found abandoned on Route 375 in Nevada. Her parents reported her missing. Search teams found her footprints leading off into the desert, heading southwest in a perfectly straight line for 3 miles before they simply stopped, as if she'd vanished mid-step. Her backpack was found nearby, containing camping supplies, water, and her old Canon camera, the same one she'd taken on the original trip. Police reviewed the photos. There was only one image on the memory card. A door standing in the desert, blue-gray paint, brass handle, and standing in front of it, visible as silhouettes in the sunset, 3 figures, 2 women and 1 man. The photo was taken from behind them so their faces weren't visible. But on the back of the door, someone had spray-painted a message in fresh red paint. "We've been waiting for you, Cassie." The timestamp on the photo was from 2019. March 15th, the day the 3 friends had started their trip. The day before they'd found the door. Detective Rachel Moreno retired 3 months later. In her final case notes, she wrote, "I don't believe in the supernatural. I believe in evidence, logic, and investigation. But I also believe that some places in this world work by different rules. Some doors should never be opened. And some roads, once you start down them, won't let you turn back." Maya Chen, Derek Holloway, and Cassie Brennan are still listed as missing persons. I don't believe we'll ever find them, not in any way that matters. But sometimes, late at night, I think about that camera, about photos that were taken before events happened, about a hallway that couldn't exist. And I wonder, if time doesn't work the same behind that door, were they ever really missing? Or are they still out there, walking down an endless hallway, opening doors that lead to other doors, calling for help that can never reach them? I don't have answers. I only have evidence of something impossible, and the certainty that somewhere in the Nevada desert, there's a door, standing alone, waiting for the next person curious enough to turn the handle. The case remains unsolved, but there are reports, travelers on Route 375 who claim they've seen it. A door, appearing at sunset, standing in the middle of nowhere. Some say if you listen carefully, you can hear knocking. 3 slow, deliberate knocks. And if you hear your name being called from the other side, you should run. Because the door is patient, and it never forgets.